Hey guys, this is Anne Marie, Bold Girl Will Travel, and I thought I would come to you guys with a short video about how I strategize my team carry-on travel, because I've gotten a lot of comments and questions on social media about my latest video where I showed how I was packing for my trip to Africa. So I'm gonna just give you a couple tips about how to strategize if you want to travel team carry-on, i.e. you don't want to check bags, but you also want to have enough things in your suitcase to feel comfortable, stylish throughout your travels. I do not adhere to the idea that to travel team carry-on, all you can take with you is 2 pairs of pants, a t-shirt, and 2 pairs of shoes. I'm not that kind of person. So as you saw in my packing video, I'm taking quite a bit of things, but enough so that I will be covered for the 5+ weeks that I will be traveling on this trip. So 3 things that I do to make sure that I have everything that I need when I travel team carry-on. The first thing is do a little bit of homework and research about the climate and the weather where you're going to be so that you take things that are appropriate for where you're going to be. I'm traveling through 3 different countries on my African adventure, and 1 country's in the west, 2 others are in the east. The temperatures are not the same. I think the temperatures based on my research are a little milder in Kenya than they will be in Senegal and in Zanzibar, where I'll be most of the time. I'm in Tanzania. We call it Tanzania, but the correct pronunciation is Tanzania, I've been told. So I had to really think through like what I should bring that will work for me in terms of how I like to pack, but also I'll be comfortable in and will look good as I travel around and so on. Also, the other wrinkle was that I am traveling through a cold climate. I'm flying out of the east part of the United States. So I had to also consider what I was going to wear to travel from the United States in a cold climate to Africa, warmer climate, and then back to the East Coast where it will still be cold when I return. So I found a really great coat jacket from Spanx. It was on sale at the time, and I grabbed it because it's warm enough, but it's lightweight enough for me to be able to layer, and I also can fold it down and keep it in my carry-on while I'm traveling, which I made sure that I could do when it arrived, that I'll be able to pack it and use it when I'm traveling and then put it in my suitcase, and it will still fit with my compression cubes. So I did a little homework about that. My key for doing travel from cold to warm and back was I decided to pick things that I could layer and also items that I could also wear where I was going. So I went with leggings instead of jeans. Jeans are heavier to pack, and they're not very comfortable to wear when you're in climates that are warmer. At least they're not for me. So I picked leggings because leggings I could wear separately, even in a warmer climate. I took a lightweight pair that I could wear over a heavier pair, and the lightweight pair I will use probably to sleep in, and the heavier pair I can wear, especially in the evenings in Nairobi when it gets cooler. I would be able to wear that out with some of the t-shirts and tops that I brought along. So that's the other thing. I thought through very carefully, like what kind of items I would wear. So I didn't pick big, bulky items. I'm not taking any sweaters, for example, because they take up too much space, and I would only be wearing them to transit from cold to warm. So instead, I wore lighter weight things, but layered them, made sure I had good, heavy enough scarves, but also scarves that I could also wear on my trip, either as a cover-up. I can also tie them. One of them is really cute, and I can tie it, wear it on my head. I can cover my head with them if I need to go into a place or church or a mosque that requires that I cover my head. I always take scarves with me, and they keep me warm on the plane. So what I always try to do is pick things that are multi-use as much as possible, and also lighter weight fabrics that are easy to pack. So in my video, you notice that I'm taking, I think, 5 sundresses. They're all from Venus.com. Unfortunately, I don't think they're available anymore, but they're ruched, so they look really great on lots of different body types. And the fabric is lightweight, but it drapes really nicely when you put it on, and it doesn't look wrinkled when you put it on. I also found these 2 maxi skirts that I really like. And again, those skirts don't wrinkle. The t-shirts that I bought also, they don't wrinkle. So because I don't want to have to travel with an iron, I don't want to travel with a steamer or any of those kinds of things. So I think a lot about what kind of fabrics when I'm buying things. I always think, can I travel with this? And so that's kind of how I think a lot about packing. I'm a big fan of compression cubes, as you saw in my video, and I specifically like the REI compression cubes that I use. Now, they do not sell that specific compression cube anymore. They've upgraded it. I don't know whether the upgraded version is as good as the version that I have, but I really, really love the compression cubes, and I'll put a link to them in the description. I don't have an affiliate relationship with them. I just think it's a great cube. Amazon has a lot of good ones. There's one that several people have recommended that I have in my Amazon list, but I have not used it because my REI, I bought those compression cubes probably 5 years ago, and they have held up very well. I wash them in transit and definitely when I get back from trips. They wash through the washing machine very well, and they have held up very well. So I haven't had to buy new compression cubes. So I really swear by using compression cubes. So the 3 things I do is I check the weather and climate of where I'm going, and I plan based on what the climate is going to be like, what I'm going to take. I generally only travel to mild and warmer climates on trips. I have not been to Iceland or Antarctica yet. So I haven't really had to think through like trips to colder places where you have to take bulkier items. Most of my trips so far are to mild and warmer climates, so this works for me. If I am traveling through a cold climate to get to the warmer climate, as I said, I still pick items that are lighter weight, that can layer to keep me warm. I always make sure I have a nice pair of earmuffs, a good hat because I'm bald. I catch head colds easily, and if my head's cold, my whole body will be cold no matter how bundled up I am. So I always wear a hat, I wear earmuffs. Depending on where I'm gonna be, I might take a pair of gloves, but usually not. I don't. But I always make sure I have earmuffs, good scarf, hat, and I layer underneath whatever jacket or coat I might be wearing. I generally do not travel with heavy coats. I like lighter weight things because, again, you want to be able to pack them. You don't want to have to check a bag. So layering for me works really well because it's not like I'm going to be standing outside for longer than waiting for an Uber and getting into an Uber. So that's kind of how I think about it. Now, so check the weather and climate, pack lightweight clothing that's easy to fold down and pack, and use compression cubes. Those are the 3 things I swear by. And that's kind of the strategy that I follow for the most part. I think about where I'm going. I think about what I'm going to wear. I make sure that what I'm going to wear is lightweight and that's something that I can fold down easily in compression cubes, and I use compression cubes. And that does not limit my choices. I have certain things that I do like to wear when I'm going to different places, but I mix it up. So I don't wear the same exact thing every time, but I wear what makes me comfortable. And I bring scarves. I might bring a duster or jackets or sweaters to accessorize dresses, tops, and so on. And again, compression cubes. So those three things really have worked really well for me in terms of my strategies for packing Team Carryon. The other thing that I always do is I think really carefully about what will go in my carry-on bag versus what will go in my personal item bag. So I travel with a carry-on suitcase and I travel with a personal item bag. I'm not a backpack person. Carrying loads of weight on my back does not work for me as a woman over 50. If it works for you and you don't mind doing backpacks, that's great, but I'm unlikely to do a video about backpacks because I don't travel with backpacks. Right now, I'm using the Beis Mini Weekender, Convertible Mini Weekender in black, and I'm traveling with a Samsonite suitcase, and I can put the exact name of it in the description as well as on this video because I never remember it's a really long name for the suitcase, but it's by Samsonite. It's a hard shell suitcase, 21 inches. So it's regulation size. And I think it has really nice deep wells in it that allow you to get a lot of stuff in there. So if you're working with a compression cubes, it works out really well. So those are the two items that I use. And so I think carefully about what am I gonna need with me on the plane versus what will I not need with me on the plane that I can put in the carry-on. So if for any reason I have to gate check my carry-on suitcase, all I have to do is lock it and gate check it. And I won't be like, oh, you know, my headphones are in there, or, oh, my jewelry case is in there and I need to take it out, or, oh, my camera's in there. So I think really carefully about what goes in my carry-on. So generally speaking, in my carry-on, I pack things that I don't need to put my hands on while I'm flying in the plane. They go in the overhead and they stay in there. I cannot remember a time opening up my carry-on on a flight to get anything. I put the things that I need to put my hands on into my personal item bag. That's my rule of thumb. So anything like all the clothes, obviously, but also like certain content creation items, my toiletry bag, and I'll explain in a minute like what small toiletry items I might put in my personal item bag. But overall, my toiletry bag with my, you know, skincare items and so on, those things will go into my carry-on. I will put things like the smoke and carbon monoxide detector into my carry-on so that I don't have those kinds of bulky things inside of my personal item bag. Now, in my personal item bag, and why I really like the Beis Convertible Mini Weekender is that it fits under the seat in front of me. On most planes, on smaller planes, it might not, but in most planes, I can just slide it under the seat, especially larger airplanes, even with the compartment that it has. It's a two-part bag. It has a lower compartment and it has an upper compartment. The bigger version of the Weekender is too big to go under the seat, but I bought the mini one and it works really nicely. Inside of that personal item bag is where I put the things that I need to have close to me. So my camera, my headphones, my eye mask that I need for sleeping, my makeup pouch. I will put things like a little vial of hand lotion in there. I will put, what else do I always put in there? Scarves, the scarf that I'm going to use to cover myself up if I get cold. I put that in there. I also put hand wipes in there. I will put my face mask for my flight. I will put them in there. So things like that I know that I'm going to need. And of course, my iPad, my iPhone. Now, I also travel with either a waist belt or pouch that goes over my inside of my coat, but around my waist or across my body, or I wear a money belt as well underneath my clothes, right? Where I keep, if I have to have cash, I don't travel with a lot of cash, but if I have to have cash with me, I will usually use a money belt and put it right on my person under my clothes. But I always keep my passport and my cell phone and my credit cards in my waist belt. I do not put them in my personal item bag. I literally wear them on my person and then I will put my coat over it. So usually people don't even notice that I'm wearing it. And yes, that's a little cheat that I do and it works. But I always make sure that I have enough space in my personal item bag. So if some nosy gate check attendant decides to tell me that I can't wear my waist belt to get on the plane, I just take it off and I stick it into my personal item bag until I get to my seat and then I put it back around my waist because I don't like my passport and my phone to ever be separated from me. I'm very attached to them. So I always keep those things right on my person and then everything else I put in my personal item bag. So those are the little tips that I thought might be helpful to share with you guys is kind of how I strategize about my team carry-on travel, the top 3 things that I do, which is to check the weather of where I'm traveling, and to make choices about what I'm taking based on that. I also pack lightweight items that don't wrinkle and don't take up a lot of space for packing. If I'm traveling through a colder climate, I pick items that I can still fold down and that will also layer, and also items that more than likely I can wear separately in the destination that I'm going to. And then I use and swear by compression cubes, right? That's my thing. And then of course, what do I take in my carry-on versus my personal items? I think carefully about that as well. And my rule of thumb is, in my carry-on bag, I put the things that I don't need to put my hands on during my flight. And in my personal item bag, I keep things that I want to keep my hands and eyes on during my personal flight. And the most important things I keep right on my person using a waist belt or some type of pouch around my waist, over my clothes or under my clothes. That's kind of what I do. So I hope this video was helpful. If it was, please like, comment, and subscribe. If there are other team carry-on subjects you'd like me to talk about, please let me know, and I will make videos about that as well. I hope you enjoyed this video. This is Anne Marie, Bold Girl Will Travel, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.